The title of this video might grab the attention of many black women just because they're mentioned in it, but I'm putting this together for black men, and particularly young black men who are going to college right now or busy busting their hump trying to earn a legitimate living every day. I was on Maryland University campus the other day and had a serious case of deja vu when I saw these young black women who attended the school all talking to one another about this young Nigerian brother that was wearing an old sweater and some tore down looking shoes. As these women were busy poking fun at this brother, there was a couple of effeminized Negro males that came along and joined them in laughing at this African brother. And just to let it be known, I wasn't eavesdropping on them or anything. They were just some loud young adults that were running their mouths without a care as to who heard them. And as their conversation was dragging on, the two Negroes that had joined these young sisters said that they had to report to a parole office and take piss tests. And when these young men said this, the hoes that they had joined told them, "We'll come back up here after we get out of class so we can go to the movies and get something to eat." And right after I witnessed this, I immediately looked over to that Nigerian brother, and then I looked at the reprobate simps that were laughing at this Nigerian brother on the behest of these sisters. And then I looked at these black women and I said, wow. And it was deja vu all over again. And I say that because when I was in college myself 20 years ago, there was a bunch of sisters that would drive all the way up to this prison that was a good 3 or 4 hour drive away from our school in Upper Pennsylvania, way up in the mountains. I mean, these women would bypass good brothers that were right on the campus and nearby area that were at the Air Force Base or the technical trade school up the road to visit drug dealers and thugs. And it wasn't like they would do this in the efforts of encouraging these brothers to do better. These hoes were smitten for bad boys and thugs. We all knew that they were because of the dudes that they rapped to on a continual everyday basis. They also would talk massive amounts of trash and act very stuck up, catty, and uppity to brothers who were classmates that had aspirations, core values, and standards of living on the campus. And they challenged and argued any of us who tried to gather support in running for SGA offices and heading specific programs that were geared towards black male leadership and mentoring of young black boys.
The police roll up and they said, "You can't do that." "Can't do what?" "We can't dance here?" And he said, "That's not dancing. So you can tell me what dance is and what dance isn't." And he said, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Man, watch out, man, watch out." He just rushes me and puts the cuffs on me and arrests me. My boys jump in and they just get arrested too. I'm like, man, what the hell is this, Footloose? Later on, they drop the charges because there's no law on dancing. But that just let me know how powerful dancing is.
These are the shorts, and this is the wub. You do it like this. And you gotta graduate him. But if you don't point, then you gotta be the teacher's pet.
Be a freak to the groove, and we can move all night.
This is the wub, and whatever you do with it is wubbing.
Oh,
Hey, this is exclusive right here, though.
Yeah, give me that. Give me that.
okay.
We do a lot of core work, you know. No core, no wub.
What's that? Right? Whoa!
Handles.
We got laughed at a couple times, but
When people started breakdancing, they got laughed at.
I was walking down Fornero University, which was my block, and I seen these two kids with a boombox. They had the music going, and I seen them, they were hitting the floor, they were doing fancy footwork, and I got stopped. I just stopped to get amazed what they were doing. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. But I wanted to be, I wanted to be them kids I seen, just the energy they had, and I wanted to catch the energy.
If you had the bones, the flexibility, and the strength to do it, made you a hero.
It takes a real man to use his mind. Anybody can use that dick. Dick ain't very much. It's all you got to contribute is a dick. You ought to just go back in the back room and use that motherfucker.
Y'all again, baby. I want this fuck nigga to anything, nigga.
You better back it up.
Say, don't yell at nothing I supply for. You do a motherfucking thing for
You better back it up.
She can yell.
You better back it up.
She can yell.
You better back it up.
She can yell. She can yell. What's up?
Back it up.
What's up? Exactly. Pussy nigga.
But yet they would get all dolled up as if they were going to church to take all-day trips to a federal prison way up in the mountains of Pennsylvania, getting thoroughly searched for all sorts of weapons and contraband, and walk through God knows how many metal detectors and steel-framed Get Smart security doors that could only open with the command of other security personnel who were looking at the holes on some monitor from the entrance of the facility. One particular weekend, I can remember all the women who would do this. And there was a good busload and a half of them, all right? It wasn't like it was just a handful. But they were bragging about how they were holding it down for real niggas that were up north, and that us brothers who were busy busting our asses getting up early every morning to take courses, whether we were on an athletic or academic scholarship or doing it through a grant and a job just like them, weren't real enough for them. They called us all a bunch of soft-ass sellouts.
The third female of the team, being Christian, was a huge liability.
And as my college years moved on, I noticed more and more of these women would either mate with males who they thought had the same qualities of the dysfunctional thugs that they jumped hoops through to visit in prison, or they would find lowbrow wannabes who would perp the role of G's right on the college campus. I mean, there were many brothers that started simping heavy and faking as if they were a bunch of academia thugs in the attempt of impressing these women. And today, these same sisters come to different alumni functions and social group gatherings, bragging about how they got their degrees and have good jobs and wonderful careers, while their baby daddies and ex-boyfriends aren't shit because they fell to the wayside. Or these women cry over the fact that things are so hard and there aren't any good men to choose from because black men just want to fool around with them. And all I can do is laugh at every single last one of these women because they rewarded those same reprobate Negro males that they now socially shun. And brothers, I want you to think about the title and content that is in this video. The Black Female Rewards Program is a coochie for street cred incentives plan that is worse than any sort of debt that you can get being irresponsible with a major credit card. It is a debt-based system that will never be paid off. If you fall behind to
MasterCard and Visa, American Express,
you can always file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy or pay them off little by little until you're back on your feet again. When you fuck around with these simple-minded whores who are cheerleading genocidal behavior, it is a death sentence that reaches far beyond the boundaries of any state-approved execution in which a needle is applied or a switch is pulled. And it's a far worse death sentence because, just like the old motif, a coward dies 1,000 deaths, a soldier dies 1, this is what your simping ass will be doing. You will be dying 1,000 deaths because that same hoe that you were fucking will make every effort that she possibly can to socially destroy you and the image of black men as a collective front over and over again. It's just like that old mid-1980s movie Highlander. She is immortalized as a strong, independent queen who has made it through a relationship with a man that is now seen as the scourge of the nation. And she gets to live as an immortal, just like Duncan MacLeod on Highlander.
you cannot die, MacLeod.
These hoes that rooted for you as you were doing all that stupid hood shit, then turn right around and get that Highlander quickening by severing the heads of black men that they once rewarded with the pussy. Okay? When you hear that sister tell the world that her baby daddy or her ex-boyfriend ain't shit, she has severed your head so she can feel the quickening voltage surge through her body. She's Duncan MacLeod with a weave on her head. And even though these whores were busy fucking around with you when you were selling dope, moving keys, gang banging, who riding and mobbing on the enemy, who's usually a dude that looks just like you, these same women have no problem revoking you and taking back all the rewards points that they gave you once they have gotten their degrees and moved on to graduate school or found positions within corporate America. Even if you're the sort of brother that has committed the crimes that I've mentioned, like drug dealing and participating in gang violence, and you've done some time but managed to leave prison and find decent employment, or you're working on graduating from school and going into different fields where you can stage a competitive campaign alongside all the other men of different ethnic backgrounds, those same black women who once rooted and cheered for you when you were Thuggenstein will steal shit all over you and keep reminding the world over and over that you were Goonzilla. Those bitter black bitches will get on certain websites and do criminal background checks so they can warn other employers, universities, apartment complex rental offices, banking loan officers, as well as women that are interested in dating you. They will go there and dig up as much dirt as they possibly can just so they can tell everyone that you're trying to impress by your current activity. Hey, look, y'all, I told you that nigga wasn't shit. Don't hire hymns. Don't accept hymns into your school. Don't settle downs with hymns. He been in trouble with the white man before. These are nothing but modern day mammies and bed wenches, as I've told you all on past videos. And since chattel slavery has ended, not much has changed in their behavior other than that lace front weave or the perms that they throw on top of their heads today. On the plantation, the master would usually allow some young wench that was an apprentice to a much older mammy to fraternize with a goofy, playful buck that was smitten with just about every healthy ninny on the lot. And he did this because he knew what she would become once he traded or sold the buck off after she had 1 or 2 children with him. She would become bitter and extremely scornful towards every black man that she saw that was trying to make something of himself, that had the opportunity to run off or was worth a valuable trade for the master and his wife. She would rather snitch and have you whipped and beaten nearly to death so you could wallow in the same misery that she felt. Another thing is the fact that the slave master always allowed the house wenches that he didn't sexually covet himself to consort with these reprobate Negro males that he didn't see as a threat on the chessboard. He wouldn't allow this woman to congregate with a male house servant or a saddle shop or a blacksmith apprentice because these were serious crafts that required thinking. And these men, more than not, had much more of a rebellious nature and spirit. For example, Nat Turner was a clockmaker's apprentice. He was not a field slave. He was a blacksmith's helper. Go look it up. Read Nat Turner's Confessions in its entirety, as well as some of the letters that have survived that time period where whites were very pissed off about the fact that Nat Turner had learned to read and write. Frederick Douglass was a ship's caulker who had to know metallurgy and science when working the wood and using metal to frame the bottom hulls of ships. You have to have your measurement game on point to do that type of work, because you have to smelt the iron and bend those railings on the outside of ships precisely. You can't be off by even a centimeter, because the metal can cause those wooden ships to crack. Robert Smalls was a slave that was being leased out who had been working on the docks of Charleston, South Carolina all his life since he was a little boy, working his way from rigging and making sails to wheelman duties. So he had to know mathematics, geometry, and have good navigational skills. These slaves that I mentioned, that either led rebellions or escaped themselves, weren't the strongest by means of their physical makeup. But they were the slaves that the slave master was always mindful of because of their mind. To learn and perform those duties and tasks that they did day in and day out took a lot of thinking. And I tell you this, brothers, because just as you saw during chattel slavery, you brothers who are going to college, taking up advanced training courses in the military, taking your engineering courses, picking up trades and skills that societies and communities are built around, are dealing with the same thing that those men dealt with. You have these angry mammies and bedwenches that are pissed off because they're no longer desirable after years of hoeing, and now they live to fuck over every black man that they come in contact with, or have the opportunity of further ruining after he has already made it through a number of obstacles, whether he was or wasn't a participant in the Black Female Rewards Program.
I read somewhere that the most important element of war is the use of spies and decoys, because upon a spy lies the ability for the army to move, and with the decoy lies the element of surprise, which is half the battle.
Hey, baby, what's happening? Hey, are you ready to come back?
On August 10th, 1990, about 2:30 p.m., I was spies with a homegirl Pumpkin and another young lady in her father's truck. They and it will become our Trojan horse. When smoke cleared, there were 2 black men dead, 2 life sentences, and 1 18-year sentence. As for the young lady who drove the truck, her parents had lots of money and a damn good lawyer who was able to convince the jury that she was carjacked and forced to play the role she did in the killings, which we all know that ain't true.